The romance ends here. Like we're done with the fluffy stuff for the day.
Yeah. No. Chris, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Yeah, now he's on. Yeah. All right. So yeah, hello internet. We're back. Just a switch of teams here. So maybe we should introduce ourselves real quick. I'm Sam Basu, and with me I have TJ. We are both dev advocates at Progress Software, and we are the other team that's going to build a better, cooler app. So you folks go.
Chris, can we hear you now?
No.
Nah,
Okay.
you might have the wrong mic set up or something because we're not hearing you. We see you.
That's good. Your face is good enough. The beard, the bod, that's good enough. And we'll just take your keystrokes when we are building stuff. And yeah, I see chat room asking, what is your idea? So TJ, I don't know how they rolled because I was on doing a stream like right as they started, like Ed and Lisa and Layla, and they were a little hush hush on what they were actually trying to do. And I don't know if they explained as they went, but we're going to just kind of flip it, right? And we're going to be out and be honest about what we are trying to build. So the chat room, and you get to help us out. Looks like Chris is going to come back on a better browser, maybe. Did we win yet? Yeah, too soon. It is too soon. Just wait till you see, because all I saw was your faces in a camera, maybe.
I saw a lot of pre-built code too.
Yeah, and what was that? Like they were building this stuff yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. We had AI. Okay. All right. So here's, I think, what we are going to try doing. We have 2 hours. Okay, chat room. We have 2 hours. Loads of shade. Yeah. Shade is what we are good for. Yeah. Your blockchain. Okay, so while Chris is joining us, this is Team Valentines Grinch, and we are old. We don't have anything against love per se, but yeah, we're getting old. We are against the commercialization, maybe, and we have just had it. Sarah is LOLing. So TJ, I gotta tell you this. So there are times in life when we kind of feel like when we look at like a spirit animal or a cause or a thing where you just like instantly you empathize and you see like that is so me, right? And Chris, can we hear you now?
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
All right.
Yeah. So in the U.S., folks, we had a new presidential election, and during the inauguration, the number of in-person guests were limited because we are living in a pandemic. So there's an older gentleman, a U.S. senator from Vermont. His name is Bernie Sanders, and he came to the inauguration as if it was just another Wednesday, wore just a regular jacket, and he wore these like brown mittens. It was cold outside. He was just trying to stay warm, and he just like sat in a corner cross-legged. And I was like, that is so me. Just like leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Yeah, so I think we have the actually perfect team here. Before we tell you, chat room and internet, what we're about to do, I think it kind of works out. So I'm the old grumpy person with the backend. I'm going to try doing a little bit of the API work. And TJ here is kind of the reluctant florist. He doesn't want to sell flowers, doesn't want to believe in love, but he's got a bunch of flowers in his garden. So he's got to make some money. And he's going to have a web presence to sell that. And Chris is here to kind of torture us if we miss any accessibility in our web apps, right? So, TJ, do you want to comment on what we're doing?
No, I mean the rough plan is we want to build a flower shop where almost like that sort of appears like a flower shop, like has fun, bright colors, but that we have certain searches that you do that trigger like almost like a dark mode on the site sort of deal. And our tentative name of it is Misery Loves Company, just based off of the movie Misery, and we just thought it was kind of fun. But we are also open for ideas. Like if you have any twists on this that you think would be interesting, feel free to chime in. we definitely need some help with like logo and branding of this stuff once we get into start building it. So if you have any ideas, feel free to drop those in. But I think we're going to start by Sam wanted to show a little bit of a tool he uses to help create some mock APIs sort of thing. So I think we were going to start with that and then move on to a small app that can consume this and just have some fun.
Yeah, and we don't have a ton of time here. So 2 hours today and 2 hours tomorrow. And TJ will do the bulk of the work because it's going to be a React application. I hear like he's got like a 10-year-old license of Kendo UI that's lying around that he wants to maybe use, but that's optional. But again, just to kind of reiterate, we're going to pretend as if like this is a legit florist website. Okay, TJ is genuinely wanting to sell some flowers, and we're going to start out looking at a web page which probably looks like any other flower company, and we're going to list out like bouquets and arrangements, and all of that's going to come from hopefully an API, and we're going to keep on building the API as we go along. The look and feel, that's where you get to step in. Give us your logos, give us your colors, give us all the hideousness that you maybe want, but we're going to be nice to start off. It's going to look like a genuine floral shop. We are okay with every flower with the exception of roses. We don't like roses. Okay, so if you come to TJ's flower shop and if you look around, you can order lilies and daisies and sunflowers, whatever. We're good with that. But the moment you search for roses, we're going to turn dark on you and tell you that this is not okay. And Chris is a big horror fan, so word on the house is we're going to bring out some weapons that you might want to gift your loved ones instead of roses. Okay. Oh, look at that. Copper Beauty is saying, I made a website for local florist several months back, so this will be right at home. So let's see. Okay, so that sounds disturbing. That is the whole point, Jason. Good to see you, by the way, Jason. These are folks we see all the time when we are out and about doing tech conferences, but we're all home. At least it's good to see familiar faces. And I think I also saw Chris Woodruff in there. Hey, Chris. Good to see you. Yeah, oh no. DeMars, by the way, has been very much in demand, which I don't know if Alyssa told you, but DeMars was the #1 choice in our blind dating competition. And they made like a big flowery card just trying to get Chris on their team. And
you need to snag like demarsinDemand.com. Like if you get on that,
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Chatroom was like, nope, he belongs with Sam and TJ. So we were glad to have you.
Glad to be
All right.
here.
So should I even try coding anything? I'm not good. Just take my data. I'm old. Just let me get out of the way. So let me see if I can share my screen. My desktop, where is it? I actually switched a little bit of my setup. There's a thing called Apple Sidecar, which lets you, because I have a gigantic, like a 36-inch curved ultra wide. It's a lot of pixels to drive, so I'm just using a tiny laptop or a tablet here just to kind of have a second screen, which is nice. And Apple Sidecar does work. And that is my desktop, but that is not my car, folks. It's an Audi e-tron, which actually just got launched earlier this week. It's a nice electric car. Okay, so we need an API, right? And so TJ has been, hang on, let me see. Can I see the chat room? Yeah. Oh, yeah, Mac time. Of course, Mac time.
So I guess what do we want the API to do? Is this gonna just bring back like a list of potential products to show, like show in a gallery, or?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so TJ has been gracious enough to give me 20 minutes to set up the whole API on which the app will be based. So I'm going to set up a SQL server, build some middle tier on top of it. Right? No, we're not going to do that. We're going to try to make this quick and easy. So I don't work or I don't do anything with these folks, but I stumbled upon a couple of things that I felt are real nice. Kind of get you up and running very quickly. Layla is still in the chat room trying to sabotage our team. Layla, we love you. We could have had European presence here, but we'll take Detroit. Detroit is better here. especially when it comes to horror. All right, so TJ, this is what I was thinking, and I can tweak this once you start building your web app, which is React. There's this thing called Json Server, which essentially is exactly what it is. It's meant to be something that serves up JSON, right? And JSON, if you're in the house, it's JavaScript object notation. Everybody uses it. It's just the simplest thing you can get, and it's over REST, so you get to support all of the CRUD operations. So this is on GitHub, and it's I don't know all the folks who make it. It's typey code, and they have this thing called Json Server. So it's real easy what they do, and just to kind of have a quick fake API to work with. So this is what they do. So let me pull up my terminal here. And I think I may have already done this, but just in case, I'm going to install Json Server here.
Can you bump up your terminal font size a bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so is this something that you install like locally as part of your project?
Yeah. It doesn't need to be part of the project. Oh, and it is complaining that I don't do that.
Because I'm wondering if we should, we could create a project to share, and then if we need to ship this JSON along with it.
It actually comes free. So let me show you. This is real nice. So what they're saying is install it anywhere you want, and then you start with this little file called db.json. Okay, you can put whatever you want in it. So I'm just going to grab something that they threw up, pull up Visual Studio Code, and start writing. I'm just going to paste this thing here, and I'm going to save it. And let's just save it on my home directory. We're just going to call it db.json because that's where we just installed it globally. So that's where it likes to just sit. You can also come down to any other folder that you want. So that's my JSON, all right? If I was playing around with this data, envision this coming from a database of sorts, right? Anyway, so what does that do exactly? So once you have that, you can actually start up this JSON server, and literally you're just asking it to watch that file, right? So we're going to come down here and say, go watch that file. What it does, it says, hi, and go look up localhost 3000, right? It literally looked through the file and gave you a few resources, right? So now we can go to localhost 3000 is what you can actually change the config where you want this. So this doesn't have anything, but I think if I do posts, I was trying out posts here. So you see that this is, let me bump up my font. You see that? That's just pure JSON coming straight out of this file, which is just sitting locally, right? And it's nice because they use this thing called LowDB. So like exposing the data out is one thing, but then you have access to like full CRUD operations. So you can write and you can update. They use a thing called LowDB, which essentially is also Node.js, and it can write back to that local file. And it does like other things, like this is a full RESTful service at this point. You get you get put, patch, delete, all of that. And you get filtering, you get querying, sorting, slicing. So it's actually pretty nice. So TJ, you like this so far?
Yeah, I'm wondering how this is going to work for us. Like, where do the JSON files live, like in our real app?
Well, can't it just live on my hard drive? No, it cannot. So this is where, if I was doing this locally and just working internally with the team, here's what I will do. Like, I have it on localhost. Then one of my beloved tools is called ngrok. This thing, it does a bunch of different things, but at its most basic, it can actually plug a little hole in through your firewall and opens up your local host, gives it a unique URI, and then you can share that URI with your team, and then you can test your API and your stuff, your services, all internal. We can do that, but knowing Twitch and knowing our audience here, if I do that, my little local host is probably going to run out of juice in like 2 minutes. So we got to do something that actually can stand out to the rest of time, right? So let's kill that. And this is where things get a little bit more fun. And I will be honest, like I'm not fully sure how they're pulling this off. Like I have an idea, but it's pretty slick actually. So they're saying, don't put that JSON file on your local drive. Go put it on GitHub, okay? So that takes care of the hosting part. We don't have to host that server anywhere. and then you point yourself to this special URL, and you point yourself to that user, that repo, and then you have access to the resources. So it kind of is magical. Like they're doing stuff. They don't have you install like an extension on your GitHub repo, so it's actually quite fascinating. So if I take this db.json file, and actually let me show you this. In here, I actually built a new db.json because we love Chris, and I built you a little something which has arrangements, okay? So these are the flower arrangements, the bouquets that TJ is going to try selling. They all look pretty simple and legit, right? So tulips and carnations and daisies and orchids, chrysanthemums. Like I honestly, like late last night, Chris, you were tweeting like if anyone's still awake, like I'm looking up flowers, right? Flower types. Like I got nothing better to do. And I honestly did not know all of these flower types. So I am giving you some flower arrangements here, TJ. So they got IDs and names.
I love those names too. Are those ones you came up with? Because those...
No, I borrowed.
Okay.
But yeah.
But they're good though.
There. And then we have horror weapons, okay?
Yes.
And now, technically, like you're not actually going to push this out to production and let people order flowers from your shop, hopefully. So we may not be clearly authorized to use some of these images, but just for the sake of doing a demo, I think it's fine. So this is the stuff that is for Chris here, okay? These are, and then we can draw more inspiration from the movie Misery, because that's what Chris pointed out too. But these are some of the most iconic horror film weapons that have been used to just kind of butcher people.
That's true. This is true.
Yep. So if you do any of these flowers that you want to search for, or you just want to click on something, you're good to go. The moment you search for roses, and TJ, I mean, I can add, yeah, I see chat room is having fun. Yeah, they're borrowed.
That's the developer skill like 101 though, right? Like how much does everybody borrow, right?
So the moment you search for roses, and this is where TJ, I mean, I can do whatever. I can add like a little flag that says like, does this bouquet have roses? And then you can go off that, or we can just go off like a search box. And the moment you type in rose, you change and you make the other API call. So that's my little list of JSON things. But how do we even get this out, right? So bear with me here. So I'm going to go here and do the thing that they did here, which again, I don't understand exactly how it's working, but it's pretty nice. So let's go to GitHub, and I'm going to make a repo in the browser because that's what people do, right? So that's of me, and let's call it Valentine.
I like Jason Bach has an interesting idea. Merge the horror weapons with the flower theme, like Michael Myers. That's actually so we could we could make our site like a combo buying sort of thing too.
Yeah.
Like looks like you're interested in roses. This pairs well with.
Yeah, I'm happy to change up the API however you want. Yeah,
well, I think it would work like with the current API too. I don't know. We'll run it by Chris. He had to step out for a phone call, but we can run it by him.
All right. So Valentine Grinch public, sure. README file, give me that. I don't need a git ignore. Sure. Drop in a license. What is it? This is important stuff, right? MIT license. All right. Create repository. Okay, it's done. And TJ, I don't know what they're doing. Like this seems a little magical, but bear with me here. So we can add a file here to the repo and choose a file. You can see, internet, how I'm getting around not coding. I'm actually doing stuff on GitHub that's automating. Sorry, TJ, what were you saying?
Well, I think under the hood, they're just grabbing, because GitHub makes the raw files available, because I know I think it's rawgit.com that lets you just essentially arbitrarily, it looks like, like JS deliver, unpackage. I know there's some services that essentially let you, they grab a file from GitHub, just like do a HTTP call under the hood, and then reserve it with the correct headers. So I'm guessing it's doing something like that.
But I mean, it's also sucking it up and like hosting it on their thing. Anyways, let's see.
Not necessarily, because it's possible that each time
they're just reading it.
They're just reading it,
or
they have a cache.
Yeah. All right, so our DB.json is here, which let me check. Yep, that's our JSON. All right. So now here's the magical stuff, and I got to look this up. So it's my.json-json server typicode.com. Okay. So oh no, I have it actually. So typicode is good, and then I can go that, and what did I name it? Valentine Grinch, right?
Yeah.
And okay, that didn't work, but I think I can go to the individual ones. Okay, so there you go. See that? That's pretty nice. So you have a JSON that was local to me. I pushed it out to GitHub, and just that magical URL reads it, exposes that out as a thing. And I'll tell you, chat room, Chris and TJ have not seen those images, so they have no idea what those images are until TJ actually builds his React app and binds it, and then he will see what the images are.
Yes.
And we can swap out. We can have all the fun doing so. So those are my arrangements, and let me see if I have my horror weapons. Yeah, there you go. So
are those will that work with if you HTTPS it? Do they take care of the certs and such too?
Oh boy, I don't know.
Looks like yeah.
Apparently they do. Okay. All right. Okay. So
it's good, just because otherwise you could get into like some CORS nonsense.
Yeah.
It looks like they take care of it, which is cool.
So let me see if chatroom will let us. I mean, it's going to post as coded live, but that's okay. So you have the horror weapons now, and
yep.
Where's it? Arrangements. And grab that. And again, this is just a starting point, Chris. We can get as gory as we want.
Perfect.
All right, so that's my first stab at the API work. What else do you want, TJ?
I don't know. We might need to go back and forth on this, because I'm starting to wonder, like, I'm not sure how specifically we're going to consume this, because for the main site, are we picturing like some sort of search, right?
Yeah. So essentially what I was going off is, if you look at, I don't know, like 1-800-Flowers, which I'm sure like everybody is looking it up right now this week. So what if we like start with a simple page where like we show all of these, like, geez, it's too much scrolling. So what if it's just start out just making it like the moment you load up this page, like we show you the arrangements, like these are the things you can buy right off the bat, right? Sure. And then we give you a little like search box on top to say, oh, by the way, if the flower arrangements look too complex to you, you can search and drill down by the flower types that you like. And that's where, like, if you do tulips, then I think there is a flower types you can go off if you want to just search on these things, and I can add whatever else you want. But then this is where I was thinking, like, the rose family, I can give you a flag, or you could literally go off the search thing to say you search for roses, which, by the way, we don't sell. And then the chat room can help us here. So here we go all dark on you. You completely change up the look and feel of the site from white to gray, and we bring in some gore and some dripping blood, maybe. Who knows? And we switch it up. You make another call to the horror weapons API, and instead of the flower arrangements, you now present a grid or a list view with all the weapons that now we sell.
Yeah.
How does that sound?
I like this. So why don't we start by let's just get the list of like products on the page.
Yeah.
Get an input up, and then we can discuss the specifics of how we will do that switch and what we want to like animate and show. And
Yeah,
that
and
sort of
and
thing.
that transition, I think, is where we can have the most fun. Like you didn't know that you came to a regular flower shop and you searched for roses, and then boom.
Yeah, and,
Okay.
Reptime, if I got the name right, is that I kind of like the mood this app is setting up. No, it's a good thing.
All right, so I'm going to stop my share here, and let's see. Let's come back.
All right.
Apple's Sidecar has this nice thing of where you can actually move the whole window and bring the whole window back full screen on between your external devices. That's nice. Okay, chat room. I've been missing out a little bit since I was talking, but yeah, I like the idea that Jason had as well. We can mix and match a few.
So are we still going to go with the name Misery Loves Company? Because I do kind of like that. I think we can
that could be just the name. Like we don't need to start out calling the React app that, because then like people are just going to come to the flower shop and see why is it Misery Loves Company. But like that could be the name of the app.
So yeah. Do we want to hard code the name here, or should I just put in something generic to start with to give us flexibility?
I'm cool doing it here.
Okay.
You know, we could also do a play on words too, like Misery could own the flower shop. Right? See what I'm saying? But really it's Misery, you know, the movie / book. But Misery could be the person too. You could be Misery, TJ.
I could.
You love company. So hey, perfect. Come on in and we'll have a good time and I'll sell you flowers and maybe something extra.
So like Misery Flowers.
Hey, yeah, that could be it too.
Well, I think why don't we just go with Misery, just because like this is just the repo name, right? So
I like what Sarah said. Misery Loves Co. That's
Misery Loves Co. Okay, well, let's just call this part Misery because this is just the app name,
Okay.
or the folder name essentially.
So
So
many
it doesn't
fun
really
names
matter.
that we have.
Misery Loves Co. though is Love Shop of Horrors is also good. Actually, we could just keep this generic and just say like flowers. And then that gives us some flexibility, I think. So why don't we just do that? We'll just create this as the world's simplest React app, and then we'll go from there.
Flowers and Fear. I love that.
Flowers and Fear. That's also really good. If anybody, I know we're giving away prizes for logos and such, so I think you could really help sell your name if you threw like a really corny logo behind one of these. So if anybody wants to bust out MS Paint or their favorite poor image editing project of choice, you could really sell this, because I think there's definitely some potential for a lot of these.
Yeah, like TJ, me, and Chris are not like artistically inclined at all, so we're gonna need some help. What are we looking at here, TJ? What did you do with Create React App?
So I'm just starting. Create React App is just I ran npx create React App, which is just kind of the standard way of building a new React app. You don't have to do it, but it's kind of the go-to way, especially for little demos like this. And really you just say npx, which is npm's command for just fetching a script or a package from npm and running it once. So in this case, I'm saying get create React App from npm, run it once, and then you just toss your app name here. And what it'll do is go ahead and create an app. So we have our flowers app. And I know we did want to show off another cool feature of Visual Studio Code that I don't know how many people have used this before, but the whole live sharing feature that's in VS Code, because it's kind of a cool way that you can have multiple people working on a project at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and start a collaboration session. We'll see if we can get you guys in here.
And no, chat room, we are not asking all of you to write code with us. That'll be a little scary.
Yeah, and I'm making sure to put this in our private chat and not the public chat, because I don't trust any of you. I barely trust Sam and Chris. So,
you know, if we have any questions on like horror movie, anything, we can always ask Steven what he thinks.
Oh, nice.
Or
nice.
we can always ask Pennywise what he thinks.
My
they probably all
little...
float down here, Georgie.
My kid is 5 and he's still a little scared of Pennywise.
Which the new Pennywise or the old, or Tim Curry's Pennywise?
The white one, which I don't know.
Or both.
Okay. Sorry.
I think if you're supposed to be scared of Pennywise.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of scary.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's good. That's scary.
Maybe some Michael Myers, too. We'll just put that on screen.
Oh, boy. Look at that.
Yeah, so if you were questioning whether or not I loved horror, that kind of proves it.
You got proof now.
It's on my skin.
So I'm just going to gut this. You guys feel free to join in from the link that I sent you. But I'm just going to be cleaning up this. Some of this stuff is important, but for our purposes, we're going to keep things simple. I can leave those files in. Let's go ahead and start this up so we can just see hello world. And then we'll try to hit that API.
New session link, TJ, if you want to send me one.
Did that expire?
Yeah, it says it's not active.
Okay. Get the right browser. I'll get you here in just a second.
Let's see this. Okay, this one might work. That's the one that you put in there.
TJ, I'll let you answer this one because this is open-ended. This is like you can talk about so many things here. But what are you using? Murioto is asking some extensions that you like. VS extensions, I'm guessing. Yeah, VS Code.
Yeah, I can go through the ones I have. So I have a spell checker. It's largely because I also do a lot of writing in Visual Studio Code. Live share, which is the name of what I'm using here to share the session with these guys. This one, material icon theme, I actually like quite a bit. So that's what creates this these folders and icons here, and I really, really like the display of that. So that's probably the one I'd recommend the most, because most of these other ones are just like formatters, and VS Code will actually, if you use, I think it's, so if I screw up the formatting in here, right, I do things like this, you can use Option-Shift-F to format your code. And if you don't have a formatter for whatever language it is you're working in, VS Code is smart enough to actually prompt you to do that. Sam, let's see. Do I accept Sam? I'm going to accept Sam as a read-write user.
Yes.
So Sam's in here.
Is that different as like follow?
So here's where I can follow you. So let me go ahead and follow you. So go ahead and do some, just do some stuff in the app.
You're on app.json, right? I mean, if I pull up like package.json, that changes it for you, right?
Yep. Yeah, I'm not touching anything. So actually open up like the CSS file and do something and save it, because you should be able to save it, and then we should be able to see the change right over here. And Chris, are you still unable to get in? Because I can try to get you another link. Yeah, copy collaboration link. I will drop it in the private chat again, just in case that changed. I think it's the same link as before. And it's in the private chat in StreamYard.
Change some colors. Should I hit like Control Save or just save it?
Yeah, except I think in this file...
it's actually auto-saved, yeah.
Yeah, so let's kill this and just change like... So we should be able to work on this simultaneously, right? So if I change the color to blue, you should be able to go in now and overwrite that and save it. And when you do, the change should appear in my browser. Yep. So it's kind of cool, right? Like,
nice, yeah.
It's pretty slick.
Yeah. And you don't even actually have to install like Visual Studio Code if you don't have it for some reason. They have a thing called code spaces, which is essentially, think about what Visual Studio Code is. Like the biggest achievement of Visual Studio Code is the performance and the memory optimization, because it's a web app. It's running inside of an Electron shell, and just managing the memory footprint and managing the resources and the threads, that is where it shines. And you don't have to install it. You can just do it all in browser now.
And Sam, I'm just grabbing your link, because I think the first thing we want to do is actually get the data, right?
Yep.
So we have arrangements and...
Yeah, Robert Tables is agreeing. Yeah, things have come a long way. I think like Slack and MS Teams are somewhat to blame, but I mean they also do like heavy-handed things. but VS Code is really sharp in terms of optimizing the performance.
React is not defined. Import React from React. And so essentially here we want to fetch. Let's go. Are you guys single quotes or double quotes type of people?
Double quotes in my JSON.
But like single, like if you were just like regular strings in your code, you go single quotes or double quotes?
Doesn't matter. Single probably in just code.
Okay.
And Chris, are you speaking? Like you're muted? You don't have to. I just saw you speaking. Maybe.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, single or double doesn't matter. Still trying to get live share squared away.
It is so nice. Like TJ, just like 3-4 lines, and you can make a web request. Like this is where like when we first were brainstorming. Oh no, JSON block. Don't bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have an answer to that. No, it's not done and decided yet, but so we were trying to decide like what should we build. And I mean, I come from a .NET background, but literally anything that I touch, like and I do a lot of mobile stuff. That's not very easy to show. Like I'll have to pull up a simulator, and for me to just make an HTTP GET call, it's probably like 7 or 8 lines of code at the minimum. I need a HTTP client and all that, and TJ just does it in 3 lines, which is nice.
Yeah, and I think, let me refresh it. Sure, yeah. So we should have our data back. And so we should be able to say arrangements.map. And we should have picked something that was easier to type. Arrangement. Screw up the syntax a lot. So if I do.
Oh, there you go. Chris joined.
Oh, Chris is in too?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
What is .map?
So .map is a JavaScript function. So if I have like an array like this, right, I can do x.map. And it's a way of essentially looping over an array and doing something with it, more or less. So in this case, I'm saying take our arrangements, which is an array. It starts as an empty array, and then we do a call to our backend, grab it, and set it in here. And I want to loop over them. And for each arrangement, essentially, I want to render something. And actually, I think my problem, like always, is in like brackets. And so each arrangement will do this, except what were the keys in the JSON file?
So you got a couple of texts and one image that you want to throw in.
Arrangement dot. Let me look. So we have name. We have name and okay. So name. Look at that.
Where are you looking? Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I had the JSON open in another window.
Wait, how is it just showing you the name just by you writing that within braces? Like it assumes that it's a string.
What part do you mean specifically?
Just like when you say just that line, like div key equals arrangement ID, and then the arrangement name. Like, how does it know to show the name?
Like, how does React know to render it?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So at this point, this is a JavaScript object. So I've got an array of arrangements. I'm looping over them with the map function. So arrangement is set to an individual entry in the array each time during the loop. So this will be that JavaScript object. So I can access any property in that object with this. And if I wanted to, I think it'd be overkill for here, but we could set this up like, obviously, if this were a real world app, I wouldn't just like toss my HTTP call right here in the app.js file. Like I'd put this in some sort of service or whatever. And you could set this up so you had like TypeScript. So VS Code could even know, like,
give you
IntelliSense here, which is what I'd probably do if this were more of like a production real worldy app. But I mean, for our purposes, right? So this is just, let's get something on the screen as fast as possible.
And like to Robert Tablespoon, like this is still JSX, right? What we are writing here.
This is JSX. So that's what makes this magic work, because obviously this is a .js file. And if you tried to take this JavaScript file and just like pass it to like Chrome directly, obviously like this syntax doesn't work. Right. I can't just type this, right? Like Chrome has no idea. Just a JavaScript interpreter doesn't know what to do with this. So under the hood, this watcher that's running back here is taking this and it's passing it through things like Babel, Webpack and such to more or less compile this into something that the browser knows what to do with.
Yep, makes sense.
And so we had
the names. Yep.
We had a name, and then we had
it was just URL. Yep. And maybe we should not expose the flower type and just let people go off the images and then search for specific ones. So you can bind on the flower type when you are doing the search.
Don't forget your alt attribute either, TJ, on that image.
Yes.
Yeah, and I like
Chris
that.
comes down with the hammer, like boom. Where's alt?
Bam. Or
I do like
maybe
too, like
machete.
React is pretty good about yelling about this also.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
I'm curious too, like in this case, what would be a reasonable alt? Because I've already got the name of the flower will be right in front of this. So would it be like?
You could probably just do arrangement.name again.
Yeah, exactly. Just use the name.
That should work.
Okay. All right. So obviously we don't want this styled like this. So let's like, I don't know. You can play with this. So give this a class of like, I don't know. Box car. Naming things is the worst.
Naming things is hard.
So if we say .box, and Chris is in here. Chris, feel free to just make up some class names or some styles with me, because we have box span, box, the image. Is we want to, I don't know, I'm making things up. We might want to do.
We can give the images a little border, maybe.
Oh, I said card, not box. Or we'll see how well it handles multiple people.
Oh shit. Solid.
Yeah, so you switched file, TJ, and Chris just kept on writing. So we may have to just like take our hands off for a second.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I want to try to break this. We'll see what happens, right? Did it actually like? Yeah, there we go. I think I just had to refresh to see it. So keep going on that, and I'm gonna say, like, because we might want some way of doing like some sort of layout on the whole thing.
Just so I know, like TJ, so you're not actually having like Chris's session like on follow on live share, right? So which is why he can keep editing his file and it doesn't switch.
Right. So if I did this, it would take me. That's what takes me to whatever it is he's doing. So if he types something else, it would be smart enough to switch over.
Got it. That's nice, actually. Yeah.
All right. So we had card. What did I call this thing? Card list. I don't know. What do we want this to? We also could kind of need, like up here could be some sort of header.
Oh yeah, yeah. Welcome to something shop, and then maybe like the images, like we put like two together.
Yeah, like side by side.
Do you know?
This is making my markup better, which I like.
If I could just
and
type.
we want. What happened, Chris?
So if I could just type and spell properly.
So this storefront, like this, we want to look as legit, as welcoming as we want, or as we can, right? Because this is a legit flower shop. We won't talk about misery until you search for roses.
Right. And like header H1, you don't need any margin, but we do probably want like padding here. Maybe not quite that much padding. We should also, somebody should look and find like the floweriest Google font that it is in existence, like just the most absolutely ridiculous font, like with flowy letters, and because we should have 2 different fonts for this website that we're switching between.
I am looking right now.
Excellent. And Sam, you said like side by side layout, right?
Yeah, like do like 2.
So we want display flex. Flex. I'm probably gonna have to Google this because I can never remember the stupid syntax of this. It's like flex. No, not flex that. What's this out? I think it's flex wrap. We do want them to wrap. Flex basis. All right. I've viewed this same, you can tell me in chat if this is YouTube, but I viewed this article approximately 72,000 times because the flex is nice, but it's also the absolute least rememberable API that I ever use. Because why isn't this wrapping, right? So I've got display flex on the list, flex wrap, but they're not wrapping. Clearly they're not wrapping. Yeah, the rundown every time I use flex, exactly. So why aren't these wrapping? Somebody in chat save me. Am I missing something obvious here? I probably am.
Like, does it have a width? Or does it need a width that it go like wrap after?
I don't think it does. Because this is display flex, I don't believe we could give the cards a width. Like I could say it's on the width, but yeah, see, even with a width on these things, they still don't wrap. Oh, width for the card? Yeah, flex 150% or something like that. That's usually how my flex ends up going. Oh, I like the custom font. Okay, here we go. Bon. All right, here we go. What did you grab? It's fine, Sam. It's under control.
Okay.
Chris is actually 2 steps ahead of me. Oh, cursive too. I love this. I might have to refresh because that.
Oh, no, come on.
Don't you need to install it?
No, we're importing it directly. So.
Oh, because body had. Oh, hold on. I got this.
Yeah, throw it on the body.
Yeah, because it's because of this is overriding it, and so we don't need this. We just kill this. There we go. I like it. Okay, hold on. Less padding, more font size. So we need font size like 2 rem and bump this down to like 1.
Put a weight on it too. Put a weight of bold.
Yeah, font weight bold. Okay, I'm liking where this is going.
Sweet.
Should this be centered? Or do we like the left align?
Oh, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I love that this font. I've maybe left a line because it'd still be nice to have like some sort of small logo over here for this. But I love that this font has like little
flowers all over,
like little flowers within the O's. That's next level.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Perfect. That's perfect.
All right, somebody's saying items needs a width. Chad is telling me this, so we're just gonna play with that and see if that fixes this.
Yeah, and left align is good, but chat room, like we could use a logo on the right.
Chat was totally correct.
Look us up with a logo, chat. Something scary.
It's disgustingly cute.
It's completely unreadable and it's amazing. So yeah, they're side by side. So I think this center. Well, actually, I think I have to put that up here, not in the.
Let me see if I can find another font for the actual cards.
Yeah,
because the heading looks good like that, but we want actually to be readable. So,
yep, I like that.
Let me see what I can find. I do like. There's a font I see a lot of people using called Poppins.
I say go for it. All right, we have our side by side. We need this. This card list has to be centered. Well, okay, no, that gets into the flex box because we need to say stupid flex justify content. We're going for it. Justify content center. Yeah, there we go. Look at me. I know flex box. Third or fourth time is the charm. Okay, so we have this. I want some padding at the bottom of this thing because I don't want this to ride all the way to the bottom. Okay, I do not want that. Actually, I think margin. See if that does what I want. Yeah, I just wanted some empty space there. And then this thing, display inline block, because I want just a tiny bit of padding underneath this. Okay. Do we like this? Good starting point, at least, for the arrangements.
Yeah.
And I think Chris is working on font number 2. Yeah, bring in Poppins. Oh, I like this too. I didn't even realize. So this syntax is kind of cool. Bring in 2 different fonts. Oh, but it broke something. Okay. So this one's fixed. Now we just need to look at the Poppins font. And then we can think about if we're going to do this with search. Chris, do we know why the Poppins font isn't working? Or
I'm looking into it right now.
Actually, these are spans.
Is that what it's in?
Let me make these a paragraph and see if that fixes it.
There you go. Boom.
Yeah, that looks nice.
I like that font.
I like it too. I just need to switch up this bad boy here. Get our spacing right. Okay, this one wraps. That's probably fine. Or we can fix that later. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I think the images are not the same size either. It's just whatever I can grab.
Yeah, and I set I mean, I could take this and just hard code a size. Like, I bet you it'd be fixed if I said this.
Or try do height auto and then width 100%. Okay, so that'll take the actual size of the okay.
It looks good for these 2.
I wonder if we could use aspect ratio in CSS. I think we can use that nowadays.
I think we can, and we're just doing a silly demo, so
just never mind.
I do not know enough about how aspect ratio works to be able to be able to do anything, I think, useful here.
Yeah.
If you want to take a stab at it, I'm gonna kill this for now, and then we can circle back to that.
Yeah, it's fine. Only just one is wrapping.
So we have our flowers. What's the next step? We could bring back the horror stuff. We could.
Well, let's do the search box first. Let's do filtering.
Search box. All right.
Yeah.
So we have our header. So toss an input in here. And let's see. So we have our cards, we have our header. So our form, oops. It is still interesting because VS Code is mostly handling this fine, but occasionally I go to edit something and like my cursor jumps. So let's see, our input, we want this thing to be big. But we also want it to have some margin, some padding. Is this the like, didn't mean this to necessarily, oh, box sizing inherit. Okay, that's box sizing border box. I like that too.
Can you do watermarks nowadays with inputs?
Watermarks?
Yeah,
I don't.
inside. Like instead of having another label, like if you can just say like search by your favorite flower inside the.
Oh
input.
yeah. I think Chris is working on that, so I will let him continue with that. Well, I need to figure out the CSS for. Well, first of all, the font size needs to be bigger here too. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just a tad smaller, but not that much.
Yep.
That's fine.
That's fine. I don't know why this is like my favorite CSS problem of why this is going off the screen. That isn't. This is.
You mean the input? Yeah.
These are the silly CSS questions that keep me up at night, right?
And we have gone for a bit here, so let's while you keep typing, I'm going to maybe recap what we are doing, because Murio2 is asking, what will the app do? The app will do some magical stuff. Okay, TJ is a forest. We are kind of grudgingly on board with Valentine's Day. We are okay with just about every flower. So TJ's got a bunch of flowers that he's got to sell from his garden. And we are building a front end with React, and the API is just coming off a JSON feed. And we are doing some binding. We are showing some data. And all of that is fine until you search for roses. And that's when the world turns upside down. And we're going to do some bad stuff.
So do we want this? So when I search here, do we want this to act as a filter for this list?
Like, are you saying, like, would you have a button or just like start filtering right away?
So here's my idea, right? So stick with me. So if I type like tulip, right? Like as I type this, then this would start to show, like it would eliminate everything that wasn't a tulip, right?
Yeah.
So we could start with that, and then we could put in the like Easter egg of, well, if I type roses, I expect to get back this, and instead we bring back like the other search results.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah, I think if we can do it.
So I like the label here. Actually, how is this working? Because how is this label not visually?
I have
oh, it
no
is here.
idea. I haven't done much label work in React, so I was just Googling and going with what the React doc said.
What do you mean? How is what working?
Oh, I was wondering how the this wasn't visually appearing, but it is actually here.
It is, yeah.
Okay. So we'll either have to style that or like make it,
Or we can hide it. Yeah.
yeah, like accessibly hide it sort of thing.
Excessively hide it.
Exactly. So why don't we do the okay, so we have our flower, and I think what we want to do is say when the value of this changes, right, we have to filter. So let's filter, we'll create a new function to actually filter these results. And I can't remember exactly what this thing gets.
This is fun. So TJ, I'm looking at the time. We got 1 hour. We will actually make a good amount of progress with the transitions and go all gory. So Miri O2 had a good idea. Like before we switch it out, like our floral shop to be a full-on like gory thing that sells weapons, we can maybe do some CSS tricks with the flowers that are showing, and maybe we just make them, I don't know, do something to the visuals that make them melt or dry out.
We could definitely like put some sort of like grayscale filter on them to give it like that sort of vibe. And we could also play with the colors too. I'm not sure exactly what we want to do. I threw in pink to start, but we could switch that up.
The pink is good to start. We are a very open floral shop until you search for roses. Okay, so you got the filter function, and
so we could just start by just making this. So we have the value. So this is what the user actually typed. And so what we could say is like really, so we have to switch up what the arrangements are.
I like what Jason said. Make it. I was actually thinking that a gradient from pink to blood red. It's up here. It's already up here. All these ideas are already up here. Trust me. But I love hearing the feedback.
Oh, Chris, I should show you this. You see my glass? Can you see my glass?
Yes, sir. I see that.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's nice.
Yeah, Chris works for Rock Central. Am I saying that right? Rock
Quicken
Central
Loans.
is Quicken Loans. So Rock is your family of products, and they put together a tech conference in 2020 and sent us some beautiful swag. So thank you.
Yep. Jason is also on my team, and Woody is our team lead. That was a fun event.
Whole bunch of troublemakers.
Bunch of troublemakers. Cassandra's on our team too, so she's a big troublemaker. Hopefully, I wonder if she's tuned in. She should be.
All right. So
did you put that in the collection, TJ? Like when you did the arrangements?
That's an array. So here's the like pink to blood red. I don't know if that's like blood red enough or if that looks right.
Let me play with the blood.
Yeah. Could also get smarter about like the gradient doesn't have to be like this. It could also be like at an angle too.
Yeah, we can change the direction of it.
Yeah. So it's in there for you to play with. And while you're messing with that, Sam, to answer your question, yeah. So right now these arrangements are in an array. And so I'm thinking
query like on the array to trim the array.
Yeah. So what we have to do is really like, I'm almost thinking like we want to save off like all arrangements.
I think I named it like flower type. Like you can match on that.
Yeah, I think it's flower type.
Okay. So we can match on both. But to start, basically, I have to set all arrangements because we got to keep track of what actually came back from the API.
Oh, yeah.
So essentially, this is going to be the list of all of them. So every time the user types something, we have the value, and we have to decide what we should show. So if we start, let's just search based solely off the name to start, just to keep this simple. So we can say, all right, we have to loop over the arrangements again. And man, VS Code is really wanting to indent this. So we can say go over each of them. And actually, I think like filter, we could, it depends on how clever we want to be here.
Yeah, this is fine. Yeah. I draw a line where cleverness gets in the way of readability.
Exactly. Man, this
Oh, you are having to cast it into a new array.
yeah, so I'm probably going to do something like the playing with this because I'm not totally sure this is going to work, but we can see. So now I think we could say, all right, the user typed this, and we're comparing it to does it match? And we have arrangement.name. I think if I type this rec, yeah, so this is like but the kind of the debugging style I like to use too, just to make sure I'm doing it right. So we have what the user typed, and we have this. So we just need to determine whether to return true or false from this. And like, I think the easiest would be, and this is like getting into JavaScript, like basics. Arrangement.name. Does JavaScript have a contains? By the way, I love the, so I screwed this up, but this gradient is looking a lot better. That top to bottom is nice. JavaScript string contains. The other thing I've probably Googled 20 bajillion times. It includes, okay.
I'm constantly thinking .NET, and it's called contains.
And contain seems like it makes a lot more sense. All right, so let's see. If I type tulip now, so I screwed it up because now we see nothing. That's all right. So we have the user typed. So the user types T. And did that work? Yeah, because we definitely filtered out some.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't work. I wonder if it's not case insensitive, actually. It is case sensitive. Jesus.
Oh,
Is there like a parameter for this stupid thing? String case insensitive. See, everybody does
Maybe
these search,
like
right?
Case false or something.
Case insensitive search. Oh, here we go.
just make it like too lower, too upper. Oh, geez. Yeah. All right. Ed is lurking. I'm not sure what he's asking here.
So is a search debounce, or is it going to spam my API endpoint? We're just doing the search one time.
Calm down, Ed.
Yeah. Search is just happening in here once. There we go. All right. Now we have, okay, so that didn't work.
Yeah.
For some reason, the undo isn't working.
It's on change. There is no big submit button, Ed.
I wonder if, so include, I think we also need to account for empty string. So if the value is empty string, we just return true. I think that's going to fix this. So if the value is completely empty, everything's a match. So just refreshes the sanity checks. So tulip. Nope.
Mm-mm. Well, I mean, if it's true, like, are you binding to the old arrangements, or is it still the new arrangement?
Oh, wait a second. Did they come in there after the fact? Maybe something else changed and caused the app to refresh.
Oh, Ed, we're not making multiple requests, though, if that's what you're asking. It's just one. And then we are just trimming the array.
But if we did a good old-fashioned JavaScript hacking here, right? So I do this and not sure. This seemed like a good idea at the time. We have our value, which is TU. And we have arrangement.name. So in theory, these should all match.
And client-side filtering, yep.
So if I kill this, though, is what I'm really curious about what happens. So my value is 0, and where are my buttons? So if my value equals 0, I should return true. I do. So when I get here, what do I have? So what is new arrangements here? How did it match on that one? I don't know. We could maybe debug this later. This isn't the most important thing to figure out live, but that's really weird to me. Like it matched, even though it's an empty string.
Hmm.
I don't know. We can look over this later, though. I don't think we need to figure this out live on screen.
You may also need to, like when you're doing the search, like instead of just doing it on the name, you may also want to do on the flower type, because some arrangements don't have the name of that thing in there.
Yeah, so we would say or arrangement that, what was it? Flower type, like this?
Yep. Just all small. Which, I mean, JavaScript, I don't know if it makes a difference.
Yep, it will.
Did you see the addition I put in the header?
Nice.
I did not notice it, but that is excellent.
You come in here, everything looks legit except for the knife.
And it leaves you wondering, what is this place all about?
All right, so now, right, are these roses, Sam?
I have no idea. No. There are no roses.
What are what's a flower type I can type to test this?
Carnations. There you go. Yep.
So it is working. So for some reason, something I'm doing is screwed up here. Oh, yeah. Okay. See, look at this. This is why tools are nice, right? It's saying that because this is within a React hook, this is going to get lost. So I think I need all arrangements to also be React.uState. And then
I have questions, but we have to honor what Eva is saying here, Ivana. We are on brand. Okay, I'm confused. Why is it losing the array?
Well, I'm not totally sure at the moment that it is. So in general, like the React style is you put any code, any logic that needs to run in these effects. And, oh, did I not? I don't think this would matter, but. And the tricky thing is, like, for things to be read out of here by like your JSX down here, they have to be sort of available in this React special way through these hooks. So I was thinking that maybe that's why that stuff is getting lost, but now I'm not totally sure. And so I think I'd rather just figure this out later so that I can give a rational explanation for what's happening here, because off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
Try sunflowers. Try what else is it? Lilies. Yeah, there you go. You're getting it.
It works. It's just that for some reason the like clearing of it doesn't update it, and that's the part that I'm not totally sure. But I think I can figure that out off stream and explain it later, and we don't have to get tied into the details because we have some other fun things that we want to implement in this.
And what would I like to say something other than search? Obviously, like whatever, filter based on your favorite flower. Or like something cheeky, maybe.
So, yeah, or like, do we want to get into what happens, like what we're going to do when the user searches for roses, or how we're going to style things?
I mean, let's get the roses thing, like, that would mean like you swap out the arrangement altogether, and you have to rebind or re-render that div tag. Let's do that, and then we'll work on the transitions.
So why don't we say this, instead of calling this arrangement, since we could show different things here, actually do for your other API. Does it also have name, ID, URL? Are those consistent across the two?
Yeah.
So we should probably, actually, this will probably clean things up. But instead of calling them arrangements, we could just say these are items, because then we'll reuse this, because we're going to need to swap these out in a minute. So by default, we'll set both of these. So that makes sense.
I totally am a Bernie Sanders. Look how cool my API is.
Actually, I think I might have just
copied and pasted it.
I might have just figured out what the problem is up there. See in a second. So this just becomes items, and these will all be item. Actually cleans that up quite a bit. And actually, let me see if this. Yeah, all of this was just a typo. I was instead of filtering on all arrangements, I was filtering on the already filtered things. So we're good. Like any development mistake, it's just a stupid typo. So sunflower, tulip. We don't have any roses.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
All right, we're in business. We're in business.
We have a blood drop.
Yep. Had to add the blood.
Oh, nice. This is getting good. Yeah. Okay, so we have this. We should probably we're going to need to fetch our, what's the name of the other API? Sam, help me out.
Horror
weapons.
Yeah.
And is it the exact same URL, but just weapons here?
Yep. No, horror weapons. I'm trying to write as I speak.
And is it horror, like no capitalization?
Yep, nothing.
Okay, so then we're gonna need. Wait,
Chris, this is for you.
I didn't even realize that was gonna happen, but yeah, I'm just setting it. So, let's set weapons. Right, and then here, we don't want to set items yet. We just want to set, so they're going to go away, unfortunately, for a second, because we just want to set them behind the scenes for the moment. And I think I appear to have broken something. There we go. Okay. So we're getting weapons. We're getting items.
Well, did you do the switch, like, with the rose filter or not? I didn't see that.
That is not there. So that's
okay.
We're going to need that. We need more logic in here, because so right now, all this is just saying filter over all the arrangements, but we need something that lives before here that basically acts as a shortcut. And I mean, it could be this is going to be as complex as we want to make it. includes, well, stupid like 2 lowercase. That includes rows.
I'm just looking at Twitter. And this was a really funny comment. Gene Hack, when we had first started out this. Well, I don't think I can pull up the actual tweet, but essentially it said like the three of us look like we are growing out the beard.
Progression. We're also, I just realized we're also all wearing black, which was not planned, but is very appropriate actually.
Yes. That's my only wardrobe. Like, it's just black. Everything's black.
Yeah,
I got some white shirts. I have some red and some green. Green's my favorite color, but mostly black to match my heart.
So, okay, so in theory, right? Like, I don't know if this is going to work, but my idea is that we're saying, okay, if the user types in something that includes rows, we set the items to the weapons, and then we also have to return just to shortcut this other logic. Yeah, there we go.
Look at that.
Perfect.
Well, I want to ask you, Chris, like, have you seen that movie? Like, scroll down a little bit, TJ, like on that trap thing. I haven't seen
all the Saw movies?
No, this was a movie called like The Jigsaw. Was it from the Saw?
Yeah, this is from one of the original Saw movies.
Jigsaw is the name of the I guess perpetrator, or the bad guy in Saw. Yeah, the character.
I see.
I remember liking the like original Saw movie or two, and then it like got really out there.
Yeah. Well, they're doing a spin-off of the Saw movies, and it's called Spiral, I think. Let me see. Yeah, it's called Spiral, and it's a spin-off of Saw, and it's going to star Chris Rock.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's going to be Sam Jackson, Chris Rock. It looks really, really good.
Wow, I would not have guessed a Saw spinoff with Chris Rock and Sam Jackson. That is kind of awesome, actually.
And while you're watching here, chat room, we got half an hour to go, and Amazon gift cards to go away. So enter the drawing, please.
Okay, so this has to set off something, right? Because we can't just...
No, yeah, it's too harsh, like too jarring.
Well, right, but like so I think like any sort of like what can we do here that makes this like almost like sets off dark mode? Because we could like add a class name to like switch out the fonts on the whole site.
You know who we could use at this time? Like the CSS trickery. That's Alyssa. I don't know why she's lurking, but this is getting dark, Alyssa. Go away. Go away now.
What sort of CSS trickery do you want, Sam?
Like I like the fact that maybe we hold it until you actually type in the full word rows, and then we just make it go like the flowers that are visible, like we make them all kind of a slow transition into like kind of gray and then disappear, and then have the other grid show up.
We could. There's nothing to stop this. Chris is already starting on a dark mode, so he's calling it dark mode. So I'm gonna just toggle that. So I'll throw it on the body, classlist dot
Hopefully
add
it works.
Dark mode. We'll see if it just works like first try, right? Because that's always the way to test this. Let me refresh. If it doesn't, we'll just see what we did wrong. Oops. Rows.
There you go.
Oh, sweet. All right. So in that same vein,
You got the text in red. I like that.
let's
Yeah,
do,
we also need new fonts like the
Yep.
I need,
coming up.
while you're doing that, I got to do the undo logic, right? Because when you remove the filter, we need to switch back. So body.class list, remove dark mode. So there we go. Rows there, undo. Kind of satisfying. I should probably be, I do want this. So this is something you're not, I mean, we're just hacking. Typically you're not really supposed to mess with the DOM directly in framework like React or like Angular, but I kind of do need this top level because I want this available so that if we want to switch up, like, for example, the header text, we could do it. So I don't know if Chad, if anybody's run across this and has a solution they can let me know. But personally, I'm kind of okay with this because there's no other way in React that you're going to be able to touch these top level elements. I mean, theoretically, I could, probably the way I'm quote unquote supposed to do this is I could put a div that's above this level and toggle dark mode based off that. And actually, maybe I should do that because yeah, we'll do it the right way.
I put in another font that we could use. Maybe I don't know if it'll work or not, but
we'll make it work.
It's the same font I use for my streaming, my Twitch overlay for streaming.
Oh, this is excellent. Do we call this dark mode? Do we have like horror mode maybe?
Horror mode. I dig horror mode. You know what? I'll change the class name to horror mode.
Okay, and I'll get it right in the JavaScript. Horror mode. So horror mode will be false by default. And then instead of setting the class list, I'm going to set horror mode to true. And then when horror mode goes to false here. And then we need a div that chills top level. And say class name equals, and we need to know if horror mode is on. If it is, we say horror mode. And let's see, unexpected token. Okay, there we go. All right, so now type rows.
That is sweet.
That is sweet.
Oh, what font is this?
This is Creepster. I'm going to change can we change the gradient too? Let's change the gradient on the header if we can do that.
Yeah. Go nuts. Because the class is top level, so you should be able to just arbitrarily say .horror mode space whatever, and it should work. So we could change the header. I do kind of like Sam's idea of making it like a transition instead of suddenly doing it. I'm just trying to think through in my head how we could specifically do that.
Because like by the time you do find a match on rows, like you have swapped out your collection, right? But
yeah,
could the whole thing be held in
stasis? Yeah, we could totally do that. We could disable the text box. We could put a timer on the thing to like fade from one to the other. We just need to think through like very specifically exactly how we'd want that to work. Because we could just basically, the second you type the E here, right? So you're looking at these things. I feel like we should probably have at least one like roses that like people are trying to get or something, or we say this is like flower type rose or, but basically as soon as you type the E, we could disable the text box and we could slowly, I don't know if we could like the CSS changes would be harder to change, but we could maybe do it because there's like we could throw CSS transitions on things, but the thing is, like, you can't really transition from one font to another. That kind of has to be sudden. We could
I changed up the header too. I don't know if it'll work, but no shit. Okay.
I mean,
we can definitely do some sort of transition here.
Yeah. Like the switching out the fonts and stuff, like that could be instant. Like just the when you're typing like ROS, like it's still there. Like you're still kind of showing the flowers. So maybe I'll give you a few more things in the API which match. Or maybe you do it like if you're typing in RO or ROS, like you still find the full match. So don't take it away. That way you have the arrangements. And then we trigger the transition on E. And sure, the font changes at an instant, but the actual div tags do a transition.
Yeah, we could make these things like suddenly appear. We could make like the background like flash, right? Like,
yeah, now I like the fonts or the header. Yeah, we should make the background flash.
We got to be careful with the flash too, though, because
that's true.
The accessibility of that, you don't want that to trigger anybody.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, or we could like make it like get almost like painted in black. All right. Well, let's start down this path, right? So if we wanted, we could at least put in like the infrastructure to make this happen. So basically, horror mode, this is what actually sets the class name. So we're saying we want to kind of defer that. So essentially, we want to disable typing for a bit. I think this is like is disabled, spelling disabled, set disabled, and it's not disabled by default. What we're saying here is don't set the horror mode quite yet, but instead set the UI to disabled, and this input
is disabled.
Oh, yeah. Good catch. No VS Code. I did not want to do that. Actually, I don't know if this is going to...
Isn't like, is disabled a keyword or something? Or no? Doesn't matter. It's a JSX.
I wonder, because disabled is one of those HTML properties that normally if you want to disable something, you just do this. So I don't know if React is smart enough to disable inputs in React. Probably going to get some Stack Overflow post with 20,000 things. So React, this random blog post says it's disabled, or empty string.
Apparently Blazor does it all. Does it easy.
Blazor defines disabled magic. Yeah, of course it does. Okay, so this works. And so then what we're saying is we want to defer this bit by like, I don't know, we'll toy with this, but So now what we're saying is here, set disabled, false. If I type rows, I like this. It's a little too dark.
Yeah, no, I got to change the font color. But the gradient's doing what I want now, so that's good.
I wonder too, we should be able to do transitions on this too. So I wonder if we did like horror mode star transition CSS transition all properties. Transition, there we go. So transition all 3 seconds ease. I don't know if this is going to do what I think it's going to do, but
let's find out.
Let's find out. So I type rows.
Oh, not bad.
Maybe a little bit faster.
Yeah, I think what the problem is that actually I can set horror mode immediately. So now got to clean the slate. That's something, right? Like
I dig that. Let's
yeah.
What I think the only thing is like the so what we could do is we could get smarter about how we handle the, because I think the only thing that looks awkward, honestly, is that since this text comes in right away, we could be smarter about that. Let me make this take an obnoxious amount of time so that it's easier to debug what's actually happening here. So if we just say take an absolute eternity. So the text shows up right away. I almost wonder we could be clever here and we could hide the text and then make it like fade in along with the background. Because we could say, we'll get into some CSS hacks here, but we could say these are gone, but they would have to trigger that didn't even work. This is still why in the world did that work? Yeah.
I switched something to 3000 in the JavaScript.
Let's hold on a second. Okay. I want to undo this for a second and get back to, because we can clean this up. Let's just assess where we're at and what we want to do. So,
I was just going to ask one question here. For like when you're in normal mode, Chris, and just for my knowledge, like what are you looking for in terms of accessibility, in terms of the colors?
Just that they are accessible. So if we were to like pull this up in Chrome's DevTools, which I only ever use Firefox, but Chrome has this really sweet tool where you can check the contrast of the colors based on the foreground and background. It's a really sweet tool.
I think it's in Chrome.
Yeah, it's in Chrome. So if we were to open up and then inspect the element, like inspect the header.
It tells you the contrast right there.
Yep. So then if you go over to Click on that H1. Where is... Do we have the color set for the H1?
Yeah, we have to somewhere, right?
I thought we did.
Oh, because it's the gradient.
Okay, so click on white where the little box is. Yep, click on that. And then scroll down a little bit so I can see the whole thing. No contrast information. Okay.
I wonder if that's because this is like I wonder if we just made this like oh shoot. background.
If we change the H1, this is what I'm gonna do.
What I'm guessing is like if we made this like
there, refresh. There we go. Now the H1 should have a color on it. Perfect. Click on that. Now scroll down. No contrast information available. That's weird. I just wrote an article about this. This is so wonky.
I wonder if it's because it's a gradient background though. Like if I made this green, because
yep.
Yeah.
So right there it says the contrast ratio, and the two check marks mean that we're passing AA and AAA. Now if you go back up to the actual palette itself, you scroll up. These two lines right here, that top line represents AA and the bottom line represents AAA. So you can move your cursor around and it'll show you in real time. It'll change the color and the hex, but it'll also show you whether or not you're passing or failing color contrast.
That is really slick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, double A and triple A again? Sorry, did you?
Yep.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I think the only reason it wasn't working before is because since it's a gradient, I'm guessing
why.
It can't because the contrast changes along the gradient.
It's the same. Yep, it's the same thing. If you were to have an image with text on it, you can't. There's no way to verify the contrast of that. So the same principle applies.
That is really neat, though. I did not know this existed.
Yep. So I wrote a blog post about it. Hopefully, it's coming out here soon on the Rocket Mortgage tech blog on Medium, which is out there if anybody wants to read articles. It's in our an article in a list of an accessibility series that I helped kick off at Quicken. So,
do you want to drop in a link?
Awesome.
Because I'm just reading up stuff. Like I didn't know about the like AA and AAA things.
Yep.
Interesting.
And then while we're getting that link, and Chris, if you toss it in the private chat, or if you're on Twitch directly, so you should be able to. If for some reason it doesn't let you drop the link, if you put it in the private chat, we can pass it along.
Okay.
Oh, and we have 15 minutes. Should we? So TJ, I don't want to put you in a spot. Like you have hosted React apps like quick and dirty. Like, do we want to let the chat room have access to this?
Yeah, we could totally toss this out.
Yeah.
And actually, I can just toss this up on Netlify real quick. And
let's do Netlify.
And while I'm doing that, maybe we could talk about Colors Flowers. We should actually. Do we like the name? I think we like the name Misery Loves Co. Right?
Yeah.
So let's do that.
I put that link in the private chat to the Rocket Mortgage Tech blog. Like I said, this article should be coming out soon-ish. So, and it's all about color contrast tool in Chrome's DevTools.
Yep, and there we go. I just passed it along, so definitely check that out. So we wanted to. We're just going to git add everything, git commit, all the things, and we need this bad boy. Netlify is pretty amazing for something like this.
I love Netlify.
Yeah, it's kind of magical, actually.
Shout out to everybody that works at Netlify.
For sure. Connect to Git. And we're going to go with Misery. Misery Loves Co. Master. I should just be able to accept all the defaults. just kind of nuts. And and all of this is free too. Actually, I'm shocked. I don't know how Netlify makes money. That's the one sort of mysterious thing to me, because I feel kind of bad because I use their stuff all the time, and I've never paid them. It's kind of crazy to me, actually.
Yeah.
Can I ask you like a super dumb question here?
No, there's no dumb question, Sam. Come on.
Could be a non-web guy, like what you just pushed, like that's just source code, and yes, you have yarn and on those things. That does Netlify not need to do anything, or like where is it getting the static assets from?
Directly from GitHub.
Yeah, so what I was doing is I connected this to my GitHub account, and I told it which repo. And so what it's doing right now, because I was checking on it, is it basically downloads the files from GitHub, and it is doing like the npm install of the dependencies. And see, now it's doing the build step. So it's doing React scripts build, it compiles it, and then it pushes it out. It deploys it to their infrastructure, and the site should be live. So we have this, and then I can toss this in the chat as well.
And the cool thing about this too is you can do a custom domain, like if you were to buy one, but you can also just do like a custom domain if you don't have one. So we could call this miserylovescompany.netlify.app, and that'll be a free domain we can use, which is really cool.
Yeah. All right, chat room, you got a URL to hit now.
So we have a few minutes left. We should discuss, like, we actually got further on this than I thought we would get today.
Yeah, we're done. Where is it in the list?
So we have 2 hours tomorrow. So like, I'd love to hear from you guys and also from chat. Like, so I know there's definitely more we can do here, right? Because we can optimize what's happening with the text to make that look a little bit smoother. So that's one definite to do we can have for tomorrow. But I'm curious that like what other features would make sense to add to this? What other like Easter eggs or fun things we could do?
I have some ideas.
Yes, too. But yeah, Chris. But I mean, before we move on, like that was exactly what I was trying to ask. Like Chris, you answered Java grunt there. But this is pretty magical, like what Netlify did. Like you didn't have like a CI/CD script. Like it just knew how to do the npm build and the yarn thing.
Yep, it handles all of the magic on their backend, which is great.
Yeah, and you can configure it too. Like it's good about it has smart defaults, which is why I was just hitting buttons, because create React app is probably the most common way of doing this. But even if you have something more complex or something more involved going on in your build script, it can still work. You just have to configure it to do it.
Got it.
So Chris, I'm curious your ideas. What can we do here to keep this going, make this crazier?
So I definitely want to, instead of doing the knife in the blood drop, do a flower emoji, but either on hover or on switch to horror mode, we change it to the knife in the blood drop.
I like that.
I'm thinking if you were to hover over something, some spot on the page, like Michael Myers or somebody jumps out of the side for like 3 seconds and then goes away. I think that'd be really dope. There's tons of ideas here. So
so that is, I like that too, because Sam had talked about switching out how these flowers work, and that almost would be like he just comes in and like at the same time that transition happens. And I was also thinking, like, I think we need a sound effect in this too.
Yeah.
Like for sure. Or like maybe even like a full-on song we play when in horror mode.
The cool thing, so I was thinking, like the whole time we were talking about this too, I was thinking, if you don't know who Jeff Blankenberg is, Jeff is dev advocate, dev evangelist over at Amazon AWS, does a lot of stuff with voice. And on his Twitch stream, he has it enabled where when you join the chat and you type in the chat, it'll play music for you, like a walk-on song. So for me, it's the Exorcist theme that plays. So he knows when I'm in the chat, it starts playing that. So I think something like that would be sweet. Or like even the Halloween theme.
We should totally do this. And it'll be hard to play the music over the stream directly, but the great thing is we could just deploy it real quick and everyone can experience it. Everybody can check it out.
Yeah, I dig it.
So we have we have to clean up the text experience so that this looks a little bit smoother. We want to have some sort of animation, Michael Myers, something come out to like make this animation transition a little cooler, and something with music that will determine. And Chad, if you have any ideas, you don't have to have them now. If you sleep on this and join us tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have another cool idea too. What if when we switch to horror mode, we get like a lightning effect with lightning and thunder too? I think it's like all of this stuff probably isn't even accessible, right? But then it goes back to like building stuff that you think is cool might not be accessible, so you have to be cognizant of others. But if this is only going to be between us and nobody else, I don't see an issue with it.
Well, and I'd also say, like, in this case, this is something that, like, it isn't, it's almost like thunder and lightning would be just supplemental to the core experience. Like, it's one of those things that if you're experiencing the site and the thunder and the lightning, you don't see it. I mean, it's less cool, but it's not like degrading the actual core experience of the site.
To Chris's point, like that kind of like flashy thing might trigger some folks to be unwell. But again, I mean, this is just for a demo. I do want to see Jeff Fritz, who's going to come back tomorrow, and his expressions when we do this. That's going to be fun. I also wanted to ask, like, should we just call it like misery? Like, when you're in flower mode, maybe we should just make it a friendlier thing. Why call it misery loves company?
Let's do TJ loves everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
And then on dark mode, it switches to misery loves company.
Yeah.
Or misery flowers, and then like very cheery into misery loves company.
We could do that too.
Yeah.
It is very satisfying already, and we haven't even cleaned it up yet.
I really dig this. This is going to be sick when it's done.
Well, Raptome in the chat room was talking about fog.
Yeah, okay.
Ooh, oh.
And if someone has done this with CSS fog animation. Oh,
What?
okay. Hold on a second. What is happening here?
Yeah, so like you two are web folks. Like, in the chat room was talking about Chris Coyer. Like, is he the one who wrote CodePen?
Yeah, he helped build CodePen originally, and now that's like his business is CodePen, which is really cool.
Okay, we are gonna do this tomorrow.
Yeah, that's sick. Make sure you bookmark this too.
Yeah, this is not leaving. I'm gonna drop it in the chat here too. Shout out to whoever created this, because
I would definitely tweet. I would tweet this CodePen out so they can get some props.
Yeah, because for sure.
Yeah, as Sarah is talking about the thing that I just mentioned, like the CSS magic comes from Lisa, and I want to see her expressions tomorrow as well.
Yeah, we're gonna do this. Anything else? We got like a couple more minutes. I know are we planning on doing a prize at the end of this?
We do have the prize.
Because now might be a good time to that. Because I think unless we have any other ideas we want to discuss, but I think we have I feel pretty good about what we accomplished. And I also think we have a pretty good plan for tomorrow to add on to this.
Anything more you want from the API? Because like we have a full 2 hours tomorrow.
I think we need at least one item that comes back for roses, because I don't want perhaps maybe even 2 or 3 items that come back with roses, because I don't like that this is empty. I feel like there needs to be some actual roses there that we just destroy or something, right? So we need the most flowery looking roses you can find on the internet, I think would be one thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe when you get to ROS or RO, we can show a picture of bloody roses. And then the further you spell out roses, then you get the other stuff.
Yeah.
If you throw it in
Come
there,
on, Sam. Now he's like, yeah, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, okay, I'll do it. Okay, I'll try to give you a little bit more on the API front, TJ. So you get a few more hits.
Yeah, at the very least, some roses, like I'd say at least 2 roses in there to help make this look like to help sell the transition. And if you do find like bloody roses or something, probably don't work that into the API. Like I think we would hack that client side. But if you find images for it, we can try to make that happen.
I think we have a winner for the giveaway. And with that being said, I have to dip for a meeting.
So shall we do drum rolls?
Drum roll.
So this is for the $100. And the winner is who's going to announce it?
Jason Bach.
Jason Bach.
Jason Bach, my teammate. He is the winner of the Amazon gift card.
Congratulations, Jason. Congratulations.
Congrats. Thanks, Chris, for joining us. And I think we give one last shout out to everybody here for joining us today. And then as a reminder, tomorrow, congrats, Jason. What are our hours tomorrow? Are 11 to 3 Eastern? Is that right?
11 to 1. I think we go first tomorrow.
Oh, we go first. All right. So the good stuff is on from 11 to 1, right?
Good stuff. Yeah. So the plan tomorrow is we'll still go 11 to 3. So 11 to 1 is going to be Team Valentine Grinch, and you can see how dark we are already going. And then we'll switch over to the nice and fluffy and flowery things with Alyssa, Ed, and Layla from 1 to 3 p.m. And then at 3 p.m., we get Mr. Fritz back on. And guess what? The folks who we did not pick to be in our teams will likely end up being the judges, which is just fantastic. So that's the plan. So 3 to 3:30, we will all come back on. And Fritz is going to host. Fritz hasn't seen any of this stuff, by the way, so we will, I think, get like 10 minutes to show this off, which will be perfect for our scenario, the transitions. So each team gets 10 minutes to show it off, and then we let the chat room decide which team won. All right, cool. So this was fun. All right, Chris, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and see everybody tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, folks in the chat room, thank you so much for hanging out with us on our long stream. I keep learning new things whenever you do React stuff, Chris, or not Chris, TJ. But this is fun. I'm glad the little API worked out. I will try to give it a little more substance overnight. Yeah,
and it looks like we had some logos come in. So we're going to tune back in tomorrow. I'm looking at them now, and I like them quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah, I like them too. So we'll integrate that tomorrow.
We'll look tomorrow. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So that's it from us today. Tomorrow, I think I actually do a chat show that will still be on like 10 to 11, and then we'll switch over to Love Connection. But thank you so much, chat room, for joining us. Hope you have a great rest of your Thursday, and we thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Peace out.